For centuries, when the UK prospered, it often came at the expense of its smaller neighbor. From the days of the British Empire, which extracted resources and capital from its colonies, to its contemporary role as Europe's booming business and financial hub, the UK has historically drawn talent and opportunity from across the continent, leaving Ireland reliant on its larger counterpart for trade and employment. However, this long-standing relationship is undergoing a huge shift. Over the last 3 decades, Ireland has completely transformed its economy. The Celtic Tiger period, a time of rapid economic growth in Ireland from the mid-1990s to the late 2000s, saw the country go from what many described as the poorest of the poor to one of Western Europe's richest states. While the UK has great strengths, it is now a decade and a half into a period of stagnation, suffering from slow growth and high inequality. As the country faces ongoing political turmoil and economic stagnation after Brexit, Ireland is thriving, drawing in multinational corporations and establishing itself as a leader in industries like technology and pharmaceuticals. This major turnaround shows one thing clearly: Ireland isn't just bouncing back. It's on track to pass the UK in GDP per capita by the end of the decade, as more skilled workers and top companies choose to set up in the Emerald Isle. Its favorable tax environment, highly skilled labor force, and connections to the European market make it an attractive location for companies looking to expand overseas. While the UK, once a land of opportunity, seems to be facing a tipping point. While Ireland, long overshadowed, is now reaping the rewards of its renewed independence and strategic advantages. So, as multinationals move and money shifts, Ireland is on track to overtake the UK. But how did this happen? To get a more solid understanding, it's worth looking back through the past. Ireland's rise to becoming one of Europe's richest countries is a surprising story of smart decisions and steady progress, mostly happening without much global attention. The journey began in the 1990s with the beginning of the Celtic Tiger era, when massive foreign investment began to pour into the country. Essentially, this period of time, which ran until 2007, can be described as the country's boom years. The person credited with coining the name Celtic Tiger is economist Kevin Gardiner, who referred to Ireland as the Celtic Tiger in a 1994 investment report from Morgan Stanley. The term refers to the 4 Asian tigers: Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea, which went through very fast industrial growth, with economies growing over 7% a year from the mid-1950s to the early 1960s. According to Investopedia, the Irish economy grew at an average annual rate of 9.4% between 1995 and 2000, and between 1987 and 2007, its GDP grew by 229%. Before this period of rapid growth, Ireland had been one of Europe's poorest countries for more than 2 centuries. This economic renaissance was fueled by Ireland's membership in the European Union, which it joined in 1973, and the subsequent adoption of the euro. Embracing globalization allowed Ireland to position itself as an attractive destination for multinational corporations looking for a spot in Europe. According to the European Commission, Ireland's transition from an outdated, agriculturally reliant economy to one primarily powered by high-tech industries and international exports has been made possible in large part by its membership in the European Union. They stated that from 1973 to 2022, the services industry had grown significantly, accounting for 77% of the employment, up from 45% in 1973. Fast forward to today, and it's common to see tech giants like Google, Apple, Meta, and pharmaceutical leaders such as Pfizer establishing their European bases in Ireland. This influx of global business has propelled Ireland's GDP per capita, PPP, to among the highest in the world, and the adjusted gross national income, GNI, remains strong. World Atlas reports Ireland's GDP per capita at $131,550 in 2025, placing it among the top 3 richest countries alongside Luxembourg and Singapore. At the center of this economic success story is Ireland's low corporate tax rate and a pro-business thought process that supports innovation and entrepreneurship. As of 2025, the standard corporation tax rate stands at 12.5% for most businesses, compared to 19% in the UK, while companies engaged in research and development (R&D) benefit from a reduced 6.25% rate under the Knowledge Development Box. while the UK lags behind, with the government aiming to raise investment in R&D to 2.4% of UK GDP by 2027. What may come as a surprise to many is just how significantly Ireland has risen in the global economy. Once seen as a nation struggling to find its footing, Ireland now stands as a testament to the power of strategic growth and globalization. So how did the UK start falling behind? Firstly, the UK's decision to leave the European Union drove out investment and created trade barriers, disrupting established supply chains and making the UK's market a lot less appealing to international businesses. Also, according to the European Central Bank, the prospect of the Brexit referendum in June 2016 prompted a decline in EU net migration, as EU citizens found it less attractive to work in the United Kingdom. The financial sector has been hit particularly hard, with major banks and financial institutions shifting their operations to Dublin in search of a more stable and favorable environment, further draining the UK's economic energy. Before the effects of Brexit even began to take form, Irish authorities clinched deals with more than a dozen London-based banks and finance houses to move some of their operations to Dublin, as well as global banks including JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Barclays, who shifted billions of pounds to Dublin in 2019 post-Brexit. As of 2025, in Ireland, 30 banks from the European Economic Area, EEA, have branches, including London-based banks, as listed on the Central Bank of Ireland's register. On top of these shifts in investment, the UK has also faced currency instability, low productivity, and aging infrastructure, creating a perfect blend of economic challenges. Political chaos has made things even worse, with 5 prime ministers in 7 years, creating uncertainty that scares off long-term investment and planning. As the economic environment shifts, we are witnessing a significant reversal in migration patterns between Ireland and the UK, signaling a huge change in opportunity and outlook. Historically, many Irish people moved to the UK looking for jobs and a better life. Significant waves of Irish immigration to Britain occurred in response to events like the Great Famine, economic hardship, and later post-independence in the 1920s. Major ports like Liverpool and London were primary entry points, with Irish migrants settling in port cities and industrial areas. However, this has changed a lot. Today, Irish workers are more likely to choose to stay home, drawn by the wealth of opportunities in their own country, or even returning from abroad to contribute to their booming economy. On the other hand, the aftermath of Brexit has prompted thousands of British citizens to seek Irish passports in a bid to retain their EU rights and access to a broader job market. As reported by The Guardian, just over 450,000 Irish passports were issued in 2020. According to the government figures, 13% of those through the Irish Embassy in Britain. As cities like Dublin and Cork experience population booms and substantial economic growth, London, once a towering metropolis of opportunity, is facing a decline. According to Macro Trends, the metro area population of Dublin in 2023 was 1,270,000, a 1.11% increase from 2022. In 2024, it was 1,285,000, a 1.18% increase from 2023. While London is recouping some population since its dip between 2019 and 2021, in terms of the economy overall, UK consumption is €27,000, while Ireland is €24,500, meaning that Ireland has a much higher saving rate. And it's safe to say that businesses are following the money. The exodus of global corporations and top talent from the UK to Ireland marks a major shift in economic power dynamics across Europe. Following Brexit, the UK lost its passporting rights, which restricted access to the lucrative EU market and made it less attractive for international businesses looking to establish a significant presence in Europe. This is because financial services firms in Britain lost their ability to sell their services across the EU. Where Ireland rises is with the fact that it is still firmly rooted within the EU, providing a seamless gateway for American firms without the language barriers that often complicate operations elsewhere. This advantageous position has led to a wave of investment, with major players in big tech, finance, and pharmaceuticals relocating their headquarters to Ireland. Companies like Google, Facebook, and Pfizer are not only establishing offices in Dublin, but are also utilizing Ireland to handle their global operations, capitalizing on the country's business-friendly environment and highly skilled workforce. As these corporations move their bases of operation, the economic power gradually shifts from the UK to Ireland, signaling a new era of investment and growth. So yes, Ireland is indeed getting richer. However, it is also becoming much more powerful. As global dynamics keep swinging, Ireland's strategic position within the EU enhances its influence, allowing it to play a huge role in addressing multinational challenges, from climate change to security issues. Ireland is committed to achieving its EU climate targets, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 51% by 2030 and achieving net zero emissions by 2050, and is supportive of the EU's efforts to partner with developing countries to address climate change. Ireland has cultivated a strong global brand characterized by its exceptional education system, standing proud as the home of some of the finest universities globally, commitment to peacekeeping, effective diplomacy, and cultural heritage, qualities that only elevate its international standing and attract further investment. According to Pinsent Masons, foreign direct investment, FDI, is a key component of Ireland's successful economy, with 20% of all private sector employment directly or indirectly attributed to it. This growing power is also reflected in the evolving relationship between Northern Ireland and the Republic. As socio-political dynamics change, there are increasingly stronger ties being created across the border, with economic collaborations and cultural exchanges enhancing mutual benefit. The pride in this growth arc is substantial as Ireland, once seen primarily through the lens of its historical struggles, now stands tall as a sign of opportunity. This transformation not only enriches the nation economically, but also supports a renewed sense of identity and purpose, igniting a collective pride in what Ireland has achieved and the influential role it now plays on the world stage. So noticeably, and certainly in regard to future predictions, Ireland appears poised to surge past the UK with its influence and economic strength. With GDP per capita already exceeding that of its neighbor, Ireland stands as a testament to the power of strategic growth and resilience. The amount of foreign investment compared to the country's population further highlights how appealing the Irish market is as multinational firms swarm to a country that offers profound stability and exciting levels of opportunity. Lastly, Ireland's population is younger and rising more quickly, which puts it in a good position to continue innovating and developing in a world that is changing quickly. While the UK remains largely focused on its internal challenges and navigating the complexities of its post-Brexit identity, Ireland is embracing a global outlook that enhances its role internationally. This divergence paints a compelling picture of a nation not just recovering from its historical struggles, but charting a bold new course towards a future defined by prosperity, influence, and a strong cultural identity. The journey ahead is promising, and the world will surely be watching as Ireland continues to elevate its presence in the global arena. But what about why living in the UK has become impossible?